For the first time in the history of this tournament, the game has not yet started, so Swim. Well, it's starting right
now.
But it was close enough. We can go now.
Okay. Into the game we go. All right. So, Panda, your take on the elusive build. Is the jury still not out yet?
Well, I was getting converted, and I think I'm finally, professing my new religion, the elusives.
One of the things they were mentioning on the panel, Sunsfan was saying basically the idea is, maybe the elusive build isn't so good just because Terrorblade's so contested. And I kind of think the exact opposite. I mean, the elusive build, like I was saying to you here, is something that you can do when you don't really have the roll value. You spend your gold leveling instead, and you're happy with the Terrorblade level 2.
It also means that you don't really have to, be a victim of RNG, because you don't really care about rerolls. You just need level 2s, go to level 10. Obviously, there's no RNG in leveling. You just press the button, and you go up and waste your money.
I will say, one thing that's pretty important, we haven't really mentioned it here, but if you're going to decide on the, the 9 elusive path over just the 6 elusive, you got to have really good progress on your level 3 AM, because AM is a large part of your DPS, and if you don't really have any progress towards level 3 AM, you might just want to sit on 6 elusives and do a more standard roll.
What about players maybe contesting the build? It's been successful in 2 out of the 3 games that we've seen today, and I think some of these players might think, I'm not going to go elusives, but I hope someone else does, so that it becomes a little bit harder for someone like Joseph, for example, to really tear this lobby a new one.
All right. So, again, as we see, we have some pretty standard, powerful opening items. The Gloves of Haste, the 2 Chainmails, and the Embarrassment of Riches. These 3 being typically the strongest openers. Brooch of the Martyr is fairly valuable as well, but doesn't gain too much value from the debuff resistance.
I'm going to take this time now to talk a bit about player MeNoHaxor. Some background information for players that might not know him.
Lay it down for me, Panda.
He is a challenger level League of Legends player, which is a great feat of gaming ability. He's played Underlords for under 50 hours.
Wow.
So he caught on very quick for the qualifiers. And
that's pretty crazy.
He is a software engineer for a top 10 Silicon Valley tech company. So he probably doesn't need the AK USD as much as players like maybe Snofe, who would buy a streaming setup if he wins. So that's a storyline right there.
Yep. All right. We see actually a pretty slow start for everybody. It's on round 3, and nobody has a single 2-star yet. This is pretty unusual.
A Brawny tease there from both Chow Knives and Cmel.
Yep.
Have the Brawny completed. Of course, the Beastmaster Brawny, kind of the carry unit in the alliance for Chow Knives, a bit better.
Smuggler gets picked up by Usach. Again, one of the stronger value early game items. You see the double Gloves of Haste on BBG. And I really like this item.
I can tell, Swim. You've told me many times throughout the day, including late at night.
Ooh, and the early Arcane Boots. It's part of the value of the early Smuggler, as we see cloned here by Cmel, and 3 Fall from Graces.
And Fall from Grace, similar to very global items in the past, 3 days ago, it kind of makes you want to go Knights or Hunters, for example, because you have a very easy, the 4 Heartless transition with Warriors, with Lycan in the Hunters, and Pudge and Kunkka, for example, in the Warriors build, and also in Knights, you have the, Dragon Knight to Omni Knight, for example, Necrophos and Abaddon for 4 Heartless.
Yep. It's pretty versatile. It's almost an auto pick if you see it right now, especially in these early rounds where it can give you a bit of a direction. But if there's too many of them in the same lobby, people can block each other on Knights a little bit too much.
It's also a good, signal. If you see 3 Fall from Grace, you might see these players go into Knights before they even go into Knights, and that might tell you to back away if you don't have Fall from Grace, for example. So very important always in the early game to tab out, look at what's happening, look who's contesting what comps, and then trying to build around that information to get the best odds to mitigate RNG, really, in this game.
All right, so we see Cmel pick up an early Slark. Could see a little bit of an assassin gimmick here. We've seen Cmel play 1 or 2 assassins there at this tournament.
Yeah, hasn't been very common today or even yesterday, really. Kind of they flew off pretty quickly, but we did see a 9 assassin game actually yesterday from some player who was probably eliminated. I think it was Rat.
Yeah, they were eliminated.
He had 22 points.
At the same time, 9 assassins is definitely one of those builds that, while not necessarily guaranteed to be super strong, I think has a lot of potential.
And there we see Terrorblade, Anti-Mage. Who would have thought, after seeing them both end up first and second last game, that players would try and build them again? Of course, BBG has not been so hot in this day 3. And he needs to find a comp that secures him the points he really needs to get back up into that top.
Yep, but this comp is that. You've got 3 2-stars already just on round 5, and pretty premier ones too. Tiny and Anti-Mage don't really necessarily work super well together, but both represent very powerful options and directions to go into. And the Druid pair early is always nice. I think you're going to get an early elusive tier 1 going on here.
Wind Ranger also picked up. Of course, players, if you're new to the game, new to Underlords, you're going to see a lot of these players kind of buying out their entire shop. And if they lose, they can re-roll twice to try and find pairs. If they don't find anything, you sell it all back, go back up to the interest point you're closest to. Could be 10, could be 20, could be 30 gold, and then do it all again the next round. Because there is no punishment in this game. Once the round starts, your gold's locked in, and you're free to go on as many shopping sprees as you want between rounds.
Yep. We see BBG get offered the 5th anti-mage in round 5 as well. That's the kind of timing that I was talking about when I was saying, this is maybe, an elusive game where you could think if you make it late enough to push 9 elusives. We'll see if BBG wants to try to go for that strategy. He just saw it being very successful.
Yeah, you have to look for the signs that, certain things that you can do certain things, and that is definitely a sign. Seeing 5 anti-mages could be a trap as well, though. It happens in some games. You have an early sign for a comp, you follow it blindly, and then you get backstabbed by it and end up 8th.
I think one of the defining characteristics of this meta is because you want to avoid playing the strategies other people are playing, you want to kind of commit for a strategy a little bit later than you kind of normally would have in the last update, right? You saw a lot of people committing even as early as like round 3. If you just get like an early global and heroes to go with it, you're like, okay, I'm in. Yep. I don't think you want to do that anymore.
That's one of the good things about globals having been removed from the game. Again, a bit more flexibility to transition and pivot into different comps in the early, mid, and maybe even late game sometimes. Round 20-ish or so, you can do a full pivot into something different.
So in this lobby, we see probably the most imbalance we've seen so far. 3 top streakers, 3 bottom streakers, and we're going to have to see how these low health players are going to stabilize this situation.
Well, level 1s are not what we want to have.
Right.
This is a very Joseph-looking board, but it's snofe instead with the very slow start here. A lot of level 1s, not good pair luck, and yeah, just demolished here by Chao9's level 2s.
That's no good. The question is, does his board look as Josephy as Joseph's board?
Oh, Joseph's pretty...
yeah, this actually came back. The big swing potential in the last turn or two. This board is not bad, and Joseph's going to stabilize his loose streak very early on here.
Now, Joseph has 4 elusives, Swim. Is Joseph becoming the elusive forcer? Is this the new meta?
There's 3 elusive players in this lobby.
This has all gone so wrong.
7.
Joseph, what have you done? You've unleashed the beast. You have to save it for tomorrow, for the last day.
There's 1 player in this lobby.
Listen, he had to just do his usual night stuff today. So maybe some mages, maybe some hunters, and tomorrow, where it really matters, boom, just bring out the elusives and just win the tournament.
Chao9 just won anti-mage. This is Chao9 we're talking about, Panda. Chao9 is forcing elusives when there's 1 night player in the lobby.
This is just the meta balances itself. Joseph is, the real developer here. He brings out elusives. Everyone go elusives. Now Knight's not contested. Everyone goes Knights the next game. It's fantastic.
I gotta say, I am pretty scared for these elusive players blocking each other. I think at least one of them is gonna have to blink and get off of this build.
And you know who's happy about this? Cmel. Cmel's going Knights by himself. He's thinking, these guys are real stupid. They fell for the trap. Joseph, he laid out a perfect trap. Everyone fell into the net, and Cmel is smiling to the bank with a possible 8,000 USD being a prize for him tomorrow if he wins this tournament.
Yep. He doesn't have the strongest board right now, but again, being the only player on the uncontested night build is very powerful.
7 anti-mages, round 9. We talked about round 13 being kind of the point where you say, okay, I high roll, I got the level 3 early. Can this player break the record?
Could happen.
4 rounds away, only needs 2 more anti-mages. They are quite contested, though.
Go ahead and see how Cmel's night build is progressing. Fairly standard, nothing too flashy for round 9, but I think definitely above average for your normal night lobby, just because he's the only one on it. Oh, we got a curve. MeNoHaxor thinking about going Knights as well.
I don't blame him. I mean, he saw it was empty. It was kind of open. It's round 9 still, obviously.
Very early.
Very early. You can pivot into different builds.
And hits Joseph's board. A bunch of 2-stars, but no match for these Knights. Usach still the top streaking board. Nothing's really going to stop this train. And 4HE is going to continue loose streaking against it.
And use such a very early Venomancer 2. Fantastic unit to have, as well as that Kunkka. We talked about Doom the last game. You know, those early 4-cost units that are very impactful, but you kind of have to see if it's worth having that 4-cost locked into one unit this early on in terms of interest points for the economy. But in this case, it might just be worth it.
Yep. And I gotta say, the 4th Savage is just so important. I didn't think I'd ever see something that scaled better than Assassins, Panda. Assassins, the difference between Tier 1, which is 3 Assassins, and Tier 2 is 6, is it triples up. It goes from 20% DPS increase to 60%. But with Savage, from Tier 1 to Tier 2, it goes from 10 to 40. It quadruples up. The 4 Savage breakpoint is just absolutely massive.
Yeah, that's a lot of math from an NA human. Thank you, Swim, for breaking the stereotypes.
Anytime, Panda. All right, so we're going to have to see how these items are going to, affect things moving forward. Maybe get one of these players off of these 3 elusives.
And an interesting contrast here between the boards. We see Cmel's bench completely empty, only one Omni Knight chilling by himself, but that's because he went to 6 very early, and he, that kind of needs that gold to keep the interest points. He knows he's going Knights. He doesn't need to pivot into anything else later on. He doesn't need to keep options open on his bench, and he says, no one's going Knights. I know I'm not going to go pivot into anything else. I have a great start for Knights anyway, and I'm sticking to it.
Yep.
So that just allows you to save up so much more gold and reach those higher interest points much earlier on.
Exactly. We see Usach picking up the Helm of the Undying. Pretty much what you want to see is ChowKnives completes a couple of things that are going to lean deeper into this elusive build. I don't think he's escaping this one, Panda.
Is it too deep, though?
I think so.
It might be too deep. There's no coming out of this. And Snofe, 5th place last game, 8th place right now. He has to try and find his usual top 2 form if he wants to make it out of this group today as the leader going into day 2 tomorrow, the final day of the tournament.
Snofe versus BBG. And I don't think he's very favored in this one. This Pudge Blink Dagger is taking a lot of fire, though. Might actually be enough. I think this Terrorblade, though, has too much burst potential. We will have to see Snofe's board fall here.
The Walrus Punch and the Sniper still very alive, so...
Sniper carries this.
Yep. Chilling in the back, of course, the front line doing what it has to do, tank up the damage, while Sniper, uncontested, very squishy. But if you're never attacked, it doesn't matter. You can just deal your DPS, which is the upside of the unit, and not get punished for it.
We can see the MeNoHaxor Knight curve. This is what I like to see. You see one person, only one person on Knights. This is the scouting coming into play. And you're like, no, I'm not going to let this guy get a free first place. We're going to contest him. It's a little bit risky, but at least they'll be one of the 2 Knight players.
Yep. How's your meme game, Swim? You know the image with the taxi, with the car on the highway, and then it curves to the right?
Like a reCAPTCHA? You have to click on the taxis when it... Oh, no. Okay, I know what you mean.
What do you... How did your brain function? It was a very clear scenario. Let's move on. I'm not even going to be able to make the joke now. Thank you, Swim. But we're going to move on here. We see, night-on-night action, something we didn't think we would be seeing at the start of this game, and we're seeing it now here between MeNoHaxor and Cmel. Cmel now not so happy. He was, laughing to the bank before, but now not so much.
Yep. Yeah, Cmel was boasting like the stronger Knight comp. I think he is still stronger early. This Dragon Knight, though, even at 1 star, Breathe Fire is very powerful. A lot of new players don't immediately realize that the debuff from this reduces attack damage.
Tiny on Tiny, Bat Rider on Bat Rider. Very interesting.
Oh, but the toss kills it. One attack.
The anti-toss. This is the meta we're talking about now. Toss on toss, Knight on Knight action. A mirrored board, really. I mean, and a mirrored finish as well. That's fantastic to see. Very interesting.
And MeNoHaxor takes it. I mean, that's not just an inconsequential match. This represents keeping the streak alive. Streak gold is very important. And we can see now like the slow meta. 3 level 6s on round 13.
And ChowKnives continues to lose health, but he continues to get level 2s as well. Another Nature's Prophet completed there. Going to have a tier 3? Or level 3 Druid now. I think both are level 2 already, with Enchantress and Nature's Prophet on the board. Usach, 100 HP. Had a similar game in game 1. He just didn't lose for the majority of it. Kept himself very healthy, and now might be more of the same. But he's facing 2nd place. MeNoHaxor at 96 HP.
Yep, but MeNoHaxor only having 2 stars.
Strong AoE there. Kunkka ship comes in. Might not hit the bulk of the targets. Only hits the Abaddon.
MeNoHaxor needs to be able to keep his streak alive here.
Tiny in the back, though. Great toss. Bat Rider dealing so much DPS early. It might just be enough here.
Oh, the boat from the helm. And the bananas are good. Oh. That's it.
The bananas take it. Witch Doctor didn't have the cooldown ready for the stun. Had the mana. Could not stun both of those Plague Wards there from MeNoHaxor and barely takes it. So we could see at the very top end, MeNoHaxor and YCA, or USOC rather, very, very close in terms of power level.
Top streak being knocked out immediately. Double Terrorblade in the shop of USOC. That's what you'd like to see.
Don't do it. I think he's...
Might have too hard of a time seeing it. Hard to resist in this meta.
Don't do it.
Can be hard to fit into 4 Savage build. Let's check out 4 HE and how this board is coming along. I do like how there's one player in all these lobbies that's going for something like 4 Scrappy. I do think it's a pretty solid board. You know, I don't think you can really go 2 players on Scrappy, but like 1 on Scrappy is something you're pretty happy to be on.
Having Tinker still level 1, Clockwork still level 1 when it's not really contested is not what you want to see. You normally expect, you know, to have those level 2s early because it's not contested, but in this case, it's not really happening. So I think it's why 4HE is so low already. 52 HP brings out a lot of the more innovative builds, and in this case, he might be punished for it.
Yep. He's hurting a little bit from the low roll. I think for the most part, though, being alone on a build is really... It's more about like the post round 20, like getting the 3 stars online, right? He's hitting a pretty soft start, but I think he's got plenty of time to turn this one around.
Going to hit level 6 here. Only 3 XP away, so easy little press of the button. Go up to 6 and a bit of power spike, nothing too crazy. If he finds a few rolls there for the Clockwork, for example, second one on his bench, could provide enough to stabilize for a tiny bit at least. We see a few level 2s.
Yep.
Oh, Snofe on Beastmaster level 2. Is Snofe going for Brawny again? It looks like he might just be Axe there and Beastmaster there as well. But again, he had 7 Beastmasters on round 13. This time, only 3 on round 15. So not hitting that same pace that he hit to hit that, you know, first place position in game 2.
And I gotta say, this is basically the dream level 6 board. Check this out. 2 Heartless with Drow and Pudge, 3 Warrior, 2 Brawny, and 3 Hunter. You're using a lot of tags very efficiently, getting a front line and a back line. And we even have Blink on Pudge, which, you know, might be able to tank an additional amount if he hits a board where Blink actually attracts aggro. It's a great way to use the Fall from Grace to be able to get that additional tag if you have the Lycan instead.
And we see Cmel and MeNoHaxor both on Knights still, the only 2 players. So 2 players, still fairly fine. You can probably both find what you're looking for. We see Dragon Knight, early Dragon Knight for both players, round 15. Both have 1 already. Of course, that is the most important unit to hit level 2 with, and Luna probably the most important to hit level 3. And looking at MeNoHaxor's board, he has no Lunas, I believe, so that's going to hurt.
Yep. See Snofe picking up the Bracers of Desperation, putting that on Beastmaster. This is going to get him a lot of kills with double Wild Axes. He's going to be getting a lot of free health off the Brawny perk.
And that's an item that I personally love. 4HE hits a huge power spike. We talked about it before, hitting at level 6, but also hitting quite a few upgrades.
3 upgrades in 1 turn.
Yeah.
He's against Joseph. Joseph recently hitting 6 elusive, which is a big power spike in and of itself. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. The 3-star Nature's Prophet with 45% evasion is just impossible to kill.
And Joseph with a level 2 Luna this early. What a surprise. Normally a level 1 at you know, level 10. In this case, the early Luna, which is a unit that I think, in terms of the evasive units or elusive units, one of the most powerful ones in terms of DPS that help the Terrorblade deal damage. So an important pickup for him as well.
That's 34 HP on round 16. That is really bad progression.
Not quite Joseph levels, but yeah, it's not something you want to, you know, smile about.
Yep. USOC hitting, you know, another streak, still being at 100.
He copy-pasted that, you know, round or game 1 situation where he was dominating the whole game. Perfect, 100 HP, had that 16-0 win streak. He's currently at 11-0, so I mean, he's almost getting there.
And we see the super standard level 7 on 17. We can talk about like why players will pre-level versus post-leveling.
BBG 2 huge upgrades, Wind Ranger 2 and Terrorblade 2.
Typically, you'll see in these lobbies, a lot of players will level up when the level happens. Like they'll spend their gold on 16 and let the level happen naturally to increase their odds of getting like higher cost units. But if you want to increase your odds of hitting like tier 1s and tier 2s, which you often do, you actually want to be leveling after the rollover to 17.
It depends on the comps as well. I mean, some comps, like Knights, for example, that really need the Dragon Knight in certain situations want to go as high as possible, as early as possible to try and hit those Dragon Knights, which is a huge power spike. Other comps, like you said, maybe some, you know, Brawnies with Beastmaster want to hit those earlier units, and you don't really want to hit that level 8 so early, or level 7 even.
That's exactly right. So 4HE taking another chunk of health here. It's no good. We're seeing Joseph continue another new streak with 6 elusives. Not even using this fall from grace.
Shadow Fiend 2 combined as well. Shadow Fiend, a unit that dropped off a lot in terms of the spotlight in the past few days. Day 1 of this tournament, he was everywhere, chunking bodies. Requiem of Souls was killing everyone with the AoE blast, but nowadays, not really in the spotlight, kind of in a secondary position compared to something like a Terrorblade, for example.
We see both Knight players going up to 6 Knights on round 18 as the losing board here, 4HE, hits one of the Knights, Cmels. I think 6 Knights might still be good here, unfortunately. It's just so much resistance this early.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be close. Inger's heat-seeking missiles doing some damage. The Photic Shielder blocking some of it, and it might just be enough here for 4HE finally stabilizing. Luna does get taken down there. MeNoHaxor was defeated by snofe, another top player, taking some damage down to 62 already, so it was a bit lower. And we see that Usach, no longer at 100 HP, does not continue that crazy double win streak that he got in the first game. Instead, drops down to, I think it's like a 12-1. 11-2, so even worse.
Yep, and it's Joseph's board that was able to beat him that second time as well. BBG hitting the anti-mage 3-star, not the round 13 we were talking about.
Round 19.
A little bit late considering his progress, but this is the kind of board that might incline you to 9 elusives. All 3 elusive players are up to 6 elusives now, Panda. This is an 18 elusive game.
We mentioned that you don't really need the 3-star elusives. You need the 3-star Terrorblade more than anything, or 3-star anti-mage. BBG has that piece of the puzzle complete. And now it's just about, looking at these elusives. I think this is the game that Luna's going to be the most contested in the history of Underlords, possibly. The Knights players and the 3 elusives players all contesting Luna.
Yeah. All 5 of these players are auto-snapping every Luna that they see. I think BBG, at this point in the game, with a 3-star anti-mage and the 2-star Terrorblade, is definitely hard committed onto the path of the 9 elusive level 10.
And now, what would happen if all 3 of these elusive players end up top 3? Next game. Do you think it's like an exponential effect? Maybe next game everyone goes elusives?
It would be quite the feat. I mean, they just have to be blocking each other too much, I feel. But that being said, I mean, the only 3-star you need is anti-mage. I think the elusive players that don't 3-star anti-mage will have to exit the game earlier than that.
We see 2 Hunters players as well, I believe, or might be 3.
Yeah. We also did hear Yoel point out, and I wholeheartedly agree with them, there is a natural predator to the elusive build, and that is Assassins. The crits just punch right through that in a way that's not even mathematically fair. What we might see is one of these elusive players being cheeky, not going 9 elusives, but instead getting the 3 Assassins online with Templar Assassin, Phantom Assassin, and maybe something like a Queen of Pain to be able to counter the elusive mirror. We're literally talking about elusive teching elusive mirror. What is going on, Panda?
Or even a Slark. Slark has been maybe not in the spotlight, but definitely a very fun unit to watch, and a unit that's made it to top 3 very often, especially with items like Mask of Madness. And if no one's going Assassins, it's much easier to get the hard carry, Slark 3, with the Essence Shift ability that just destroys boards by himself.
So we have our paths forward. We have 1 Knight player, 1 Savage player, 2 Knights player, 1 Hunter, 1 Savage, 3 elusive, and 1 Scrappy going into round 20 item drops.
This is the point where you missed one swim. This is the point where you can kind of say that round 20 is where your comp begins to settle. Pivots aren't really going to happen, so now you can really just tab and look at the board and say, okay, I'm alone in Hunters, or there's 2 Knight players, I'm fine, and kind of decide, ooh.
Ooh, Cmel's Daedalus.
And
Daedalus
Cmel is the player
right
that said, everyone go elusive, I'm going to go Knights, I'm going to pick up a Daedalus because, calculated, and then just win the game. We'll see if it happens, though. He's definitely in a good position. 68 HP, very healthy alongside Usach, and with a pretty good comp. I mean, 6 Knights already acquired for him.
It's a really big deal when you can get this item, you put it on your DK. I will say, when this crits, the entire splash goes through evasion. Gigantic.
Enchantress 3 for Chow Knives. His second Druid will definitely be thankful for that. Enchantress not so much.
Cmel versus BBG. The Daedalus is already on this Dragon Knight who has the ability to pierce through evasion when he crits.
It's looking pretty okay.
Very even fight. I do think at the current point in time, BBG has to be a little bit favored. Ooh, maybe not. Terrorblade is coming online just too late. This Dragon Knight's chunking. Windrunner 2 stars.
Oh, the Helm of the Undying, though. And again, the Helm of the Undying comes in clutch. We saw it before. Terrorblade becomes a nightmare for any player facing him. You think he's dead, think again, 4 more seconds of that, front slap, back slap that just kills you in 2 hits.
Yep. I think Cmel is realizing he's a bit weak at this point, but once he gets the 2-star DK online, his knight progression is looking very good. I do think this is a build that can counter the elusives.
And change the data list now to Luna. Of course, Luna level 2 might do a bit more for the moment. Maybe when the Dragon Knight gets to level 2, that might change things a tiny bit. But for now, I think he really is just hoping for that Dragon Knight. Of course, MeNoHaxor, I think, is contesting him on Knights. We're going to see if he also has Dragon Knights later on. He looks like it's only 1 for now, so both players looking for it.
Yep. Getting pretty low on health. We see Aegis being held by the 2 players with the lowest health at this point in time.
And again, BBG, we're not watching him, but he's watching us. He comes back into the board here against 4HE. We'll see if the anti-mage 3 is enough. It looks like it will be. Terrorblade gonna just slap everything.
Yeah, it's really, really hard time to be a scrappy player right now in this environment. The Knights and the Elusives, getting stuck between those is just so rough.
And snofe takes a big hit there from the second Knight player, MeNoHaxor. So Knights pulling through in this lobby, at least for now, it looks like. Cmel and MeNoHaxor still fairly healthy. 4HE with that kind of unusual build, not doing that well, really. He has the Aegis, at least. He still has some gold. 30 hasn't, gone all the way down into the sewers yet, but 18 HP. Xiaonai's also at 20. And snofe with the Beastmaster Dream. Maybe just didn't get the right pieces this time. Only 3 Beastmasters. Not at all close to the 3-star Beastmaster he had in the game he won.
Yep. His kill count is pretty low as well, even being kind of uncontested here. He's going to have to start burning down his gold fairly soon. We, of course, see Aegis just being held by 2 low health players. It'll help them stay alive a little bit, but of course the trade-off is losing an entire item. You typically see like the Aegis holders losing health faster than other players.
And of course, Fall from Grace is here. You see the Kunkka, Pudge, Drow Ranger, and Lycan giving you that 4 Heartless.
Snofe against Cmel. Scrappies against Hunters. Big ship comes in. That ship has to be securing this, I think. Power shot does a little bit. These Knights are so hard to chunk through with the shields, but the Sniper level 2 has it.
A great win there for Snofe. Feels a bit, safer. A bit, he's at low HP, 29, not the greatest, but with that win over a very strong Knights player and at 50 HP as well, you can kind of say, and the first place player actually, you can say you feel a lot better now going into the next few rounds.
Yep.
And you can make it to the round 25 creep round, for example.
Usach and Joseph both going to level 9 very aggressively. Joseph does have the opportunity to go for something like the early game 9 elusive on this board. I'd really love to see the 3 assassin curve by this player.
And the Medusa would have, been a great option for the Hunters players. Unfortunately, not for the elusive player. Going to skip through that one.
Okay. Chow Knives. It's coming down to the point where Aegis are going to be burned. 4HE and Chow Knives both holding on to the Aegis as of now. But Chow Knives at 10 health.
And Chow Knives, 4 Druids. Not something you see very often. A very, again, also a strange build. Maybe could have been just the scraps that he was left with when it came down to it. But looks like it's maybe enough for now.
Yep, it's holding. He does have the 6 elusives. And right now, that's pretty much good against anything. Let's check out 4HE's board, who manages to repel against MeNoHaxor, preserving his health there. BBG still looks like he's streaking as well.
And of course, MeNoHaxor, the weakest Knight player right now, sitting at 33 HP. Once MeNoHaxor dies, all those Knights get released back into the wild, and Cmel opens his arms and welcomes them to his team.
Looks like there was a bit of a bug there. Not sure what's happening here. Hopefully we'll have some kind of message from production. Looks like a disconnect has occurred.
For now, we can look at the background of the screen.
Yep. So how's things, Pando? We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Pretty good swim. We're in day 3 of this tournament. Very excited. It was going to be a great elusive finish there, but maybe not for us. The players will definitely enjoy it, though. Gonna be waiting on production here, see if we can get this resolved. For now, not much else we can do, Swim.
Yep. What was that? Oh.
Suns fan is screaming something from the analyst desk, but it's gibberish to us. And looks like we are back on the big screen. Looks like Cmel is still in the lead here. Tabbing in here, we see a quick view of the results there. Chow Knives still alive. No players has died yet. Elusives all around, still doing fairly well. Well, Chow9's not so much. He did go into the unusual 4 Druid build, which isn't kind of the standard. He might have said, you know, I'm not going to get to 9 Elusives. I'm not going to make it. The other players are doing better. They're stealing all the units. I'm going to go into Druids instead.
Yep. Looks like we're very, very close to the Shadow Fiend upgrade here on the side of Usach. Been a while since we've seen a level 3 Shadow Fiend, but coming in with a refresher is going to be very powerful.
See a few interesting items there as well. Refresher, Scythe of Vice as well. Looking at Joseph's board, still very strong. 1 away from the 9 Elusives as a Terrorblade on the bench for now. And we've talked about it. I mean, it's being contested. There's only 1 Terrorblade for him. See the Druid comp here, if it's going to do enough here. Scythe of Vice immediately turns one of those units into a pig. The bears come out. The whole farm is here. And we'll see if it's enough to deal with these knights from MeNoHaxor, kind of the weakest knight player. Cmel considered the top knight player. And we'll see if it's enough. It's going to be a close one here. The heals come in from the Treant. The bear is still alive. Nature's Call might not be enough here. Wind Ranger will be going down soon. And yeah, it looks like MeNoHaxor just enough to survive there.
Chow9 needs to be able to hit those repels, and he is golden. All right. So we have every player in this lobby at very, very low health. Usach being above 30, the rest representing a range of basically 20. It's anyone's game going forward.
And MeNoHaxor used to be the weakest knight player. He is now currently in second. Cmel has dropped down to third. And MeNoHaxor has a interesting knight build. He has 3 mages swim.
Yep. It's been a while since we've seen the Knight's 3 mages path, especially with the 6 Heartless. But this is something that has been done a bit in the past.
And talking about adapting, I mean, this is a build we haven't seen all tournament long. MeNoHaxor finds the right pieces and he says, all right, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. And he's currently sitting in a very comfortable position. He's currently second or third on the leaderboard. I think he was, looks like he's second after Usach.
Yep, and I gotta say, I'd love to see this Blink Dagger coming through on something like the Keeper of the Light or the Lich. There's a bit of a technical difficulty happening here as well. You can see the panel is laughing their heads off. Very funny, guys. Haha.
Joseph again defeated by BBG. He was at the top and he goes down to 8 HP. So maybe Elusive's not as strong as we thought originally.
Yep. So we see Joseph down to
BBG, Chow9, and Joseph, all Elusive players, sitting at under 20 HP, where last game we saw at the very top.
Yep. This could be anyone's game. This is really, really, really close. Okay. We don't see the 9 Elusives being completed quite yet. Joseph is 1 off, electing to go for the gyro instead here.
And it's just the natural predator. I mean, there's a very strong comp. Players see this and they all gravitate towards it, and now it's contested and it's much harder to complete. Joseph level 10. Every other game he had the 9 Elusives online. Yep. In this case, not going to happen.
Joseph needs to be able to take this board. He's at 8 health. 8 damage will end him. The Chain Frost is coming through with the call down. Call down's defensive, but it's not going to be enough. I think MeNoHaxor has him defeated here. That's going to be 8 damage. Joseph is going down to this, maybe 8th place if Forhe and Chow9 don't die first. Forhe versus Chow9 here. Chow9 looks like he's going to be good. Forhe needs to be able to survive this 9 damage before he's going out as well. No Aegis to protect him as he finishes in 7th place.
And Joseph was 2nd place on the leaderboard after the first 3 games, drops down in 8th. That's going to be a big hit to his standings for the final game 5. We're going to see next after this one, and the last one of today before the 5 we're going to see tomorrow.
There was
Forhe goes down to 9. He did have the sneaky Aegis in his pocket, Swim didn't see it, but that's okay.
We see Forhe completing the Viper 3 at the same time snofe completes the Lycan 3. This is going to be really, really big upgrades on these boards. We see everyone spending the gold. MeNoHaxor up to level 10, a really, really huge power spike, protecting his streak, which is going to help him roll down past 31.
And
Snofe versus Forhe.
He didn't find the Beastmaster 3, but he found the Lycan 3, which is also pretty good. And now it seems the Brawny buff isn't kind of the main idea of this comp. It's more the Hunters.
Oh, this is a huge upset. Snofe is getting completely blasted by these 3-star Scrappies. The Lycan might have it, though. The Lycan's very, very powerful, but I think this Viper is just too strong. Corrosive and Finger are so good here, and Snofe will be losing this.
And 4 HE, he's been low for so long, still hanging in there at 9 HP. Gold has been rolled down. Only 2 gold left, so not much he can change in his comp. Chow Knives says Chow Chow.
By BBG.
60 damage.
We see Knights getting lost, or sorry, the elusive build getting knocked out by the other elusive build here.
And again, another breather for all these players. We're going to have the creep round 30, the big dinos, big rewards section of this game. See what items are picked up. And MeNoHaxor, he was at 33 HP. So many rounds ago, we mentioned it. Cmel was the stronger Knights player, but he has hung on. He adapted. He transitions to 4 mages with 6 Knights, something you don't see every day. And he's leading the board right now, the game right now with 33 HP at the first place and win streaking as well.
Yep. And we can see the 3 elusive players obviously kind of ended up blocking themselves and exiting the pool early. I gotta say, Panda, I really, really like MeNoHaxor's decision to go into the mage path here. It's something we don't see often. The 6 Knights, 3 mages. It was meta quite a while ago. It's very old school. But I think his line of reasoning was seeing these 3 elusive players and being like, okay, I don't have the ability to hit them with my auto attacks. I should splash some mages in, get a Keeper of the Light to pair with my Blink Dagger. Obviously, at this point, the elusives are out, but in the moment, this is why he's streaking. And
it shows how high skilled and how high level these players are. Whereas from one game to the next, essentially the meta changes completely. Mages were doing terribly. Now mages are doing really well at the top. Elusives came out of nowhere. Everyone went into them. So it was elusives was kind of the strong comp.
Yep.
Players copied it, and other players went 2 steps ahead and countered it in the same game, in this game 4. So fantastic to see. If you like strategy, if you like Underlords, this is just the great thing about this game. You can see these players really showing off their skill.
Yep, Usach on 2 gigantic outs, looking for 1 Shadow Fiend, looking for 1 Enchantress. He finds both in the same pack. 2 3-stars completed and extra slots freed up as he goes into round 31, defending his 21 health.
And he's up against 4-he, a player that's been hanging on to the last thread for oh so long. 9 HP, he can get knocked out of his position. He does not have the Aegis any longer.
4 players within 1-shot range here.
Big Kunkka.
Usach has a huge Kunkka, and the 3-stars are just too much. I think this might be the end for 4-HE. He needs this Viper to carry him again. The Viper is slowing everything.
He has his own 3-stars, though, and the Viper
and
3.
That's too much.
Who would have thought Viper 3 would be a carry, but we're seeing it round after round.
Usach gets chunked out. That's it. BBG repels his board. Cmel lands 6th.
And now it's MeNoHaxor. He has lost 10 HP, but he's still very far ahead at 23. Definitely not in 1-shot range. You'd have to see a very crazy round for that to happen.
Okay. We see the Bracers of Desperation on the Lycan. This is pretty powerful because, of course, you can let the dogs out an additional time.
Fortune's blowing in our favor today.
All right. We are getting into this next fight here. It's going to be BBG versus Usach. It's very, very huge. Ooh, no, Snope versus MeNoHaxor. A huge Caught Blast coming through. Pudge Hook. The Chain Frost has it. Snope repels against MeNoHaxor, surviving at 5 HP still. BBG versus Usach. 4 versus 4. And it looks like Usach is going to get eliminated here. The elusive Demon Hunters are too much.
He
BBG
does not have
wins.
An Aegis, so Usach goes out in 5th place. 20 damage. You talk about 23 being too much, but 20 is definitely there. And BBG shows it. Usach goes out in 5th place. Not fantastic. And now we see one last elusive player. BBG still alive. One last Knights player. MeNoHaxor still alive. Cmel did go down, so the original Knights player ended up losing, getting 6th place. MeNoHaxor still top leader, but it's a very, very close game. 14 HP for 1st. And 4 HP for 4th.
Yep. BBG on the 9 elusive path after seeing it so successful in the last game. We're going to have to see how it holds up as he goes against Snofe. 3 players within 1-shot range. MeNoHaxor can die at any time too. The Doom blinks in. It has to be able to do something powerful. Doom is a Terrorblade. The Terrorblade can't transform and it goes down. Lycan hits a huge ulti and it's just running around stomping. That's gigantic. BBG is getting smacked out by Snofe. He's got to go down here. We can see 4-HE against MeNoHaxor's board. 4-HE has the ability to go down. MeNoHaxor gets knocked out. 15 damage by 4-HE, and it's heads up.
It's going to be 4-HE against Snofe. 4-HE, the player that's been at 9 HP for so long. He's been hanging on there, and Snofe as well. Snofe win streaking, though. He's 2 levels ahead. 4-HE is only at level 8. He has a lot of 3-stars, though. And the Viper has been the hard carry this game. Do you think Viper can all of a sudden become a unit people are going to go for?
I think this Viper, yeah, as you mentioned, has been very, very underrated. The corrosive skin plus the Vanguard with the attack speed slow has actually proved pretty essential. This is a very, very interesting build, to say the least. Okay, this is it. Potentially the final game. Lycan needs to be able to hit the ulti, summons the dogs.
Viper going down very early might be enough. Forced enough to do it here. The DPS coming in from Sniper level 3 is huge. Just
Clockwork
melting
needs to be able
these
to take other units down with it. That's it. The puck won't be able to withstand this.
And that's going to be a ton of damage. Is it enough?
That's
The 9
enough
HP
damage.
needed.
4 HP will be going down here. Snofe ending the lobby with first place.
Perfect 9 damage, and Snow finally, he was 5th place last game. Obviously, not happy with that result. Comes into game 4, gets a first place position, and the Elusives, maybe not the answer. Hunters comes up and wins this last game.
Yeah, I think the theme of that lobby really was players blocking each other. We saw 3 Elusives going out the first, and the 2 Knights even blocked each other. Our heads-up finalists were the players on Scrappy and the slightly interesting other build.
So 2 comps that, again, we weren't expecting to do so well, end up first and second. Analyst panel, please break down this very evolving meta we're seeing in every single game.